Not a single day passes by when I'm looking back to this particular day when my teacher saved me and my best friend's life. This particular event made me to realize what I wanted to do with my future, what I want to be in the future. In order to do that, and also to honor my teacher's memory of what she did. My name is Matthew. I'm currently in college and I'm 22 years old, and this happened some years ago when I was still 17 years old in high school. It all took place in 2013. Even though I have no problems with high school, I I really loved studying. I have many friends. I loved all teachers. But there was one particular teacher that I really was very fond of. She was the best teacher I ever had. She was very kind, very social. She was a very outgoing person. Her name was Miss Jennifer. She was about 25 years old when this happened. And you may understand why it all affected my life, all this. But like I said, I was 17 years old when this happened. We were actually in a just a normal day in a school, and well, it's just all of this something I often relive in my memory, trying to figure out if I could have done something else in order to save my teacher's life. Yes, saving her life because she didn't make it. I'm I'm going a little bit ahead of myself here, but anyways, this was just a normal, typical day in high school back when I was just 17 years old. Like many other teenagers, we would just not realize, we didn't realize our potential, what we want to do in our future. Many had already decided what they want to do. Some maybe just want to work in their family's business, or either want to go to college or anything like that. At this moment, I wasn't really sure if I would even want to go to college or university or anything. I thought maybe just to finish high school and then maybe just to find a potential work and then start living by myself. But what I didn't know, this day would shape my future for something different path that I never even thought of. I was just with my friends. We were just in a having a lunch when suddenly when the school system works start to work just went off, it was the principal saying the school is going to lock down. This is not a drill. Every student go to their location to be safe. This is not a drill. The school is now going to lock down. When this happened, everyone just stood looking at each other, started asking themselves, what is going on? Like, has never happened before. Well, I mean, we had a few um, drills of preparing yourself if for a lockdown. We have at least a few times of lockdown drills, but we never actually experienced any actual lockdown. There were a few teachers in the cafeteria, and they told us immediately follow them to nearest classrooms. Luckily, there was only a few nearby, but one of the teachers was Miss Jennifer. She was leading me and Carlos, my best friend, and we were heading to one classroom nearby that she was holding next class, but we never even got that far because we heard this sound in a distance, and we all realized what it was. Gunshots. Someone was shooting and screaming and yelling in a distance. And we still had a way to go to the other classroom, but we wanted to hide. So Miss Jennifer whispered to us and told us we should find another place to hide. But there were no other places to go because the hallway we were in, just lockers. They were too small for even any of us to even hide in. There were only a few other places we could maybe to hide. There was just one closet, a janitor closet, but it was locked. So we didn't know where else to go. We started panicking, but Miss Jennifer told us just to be calm and be quiet. But as the sound getting closer and the yelling was even getting louder and louder, there was only a matter of time before this person or people would see us and even shooting us without no reason. Because we had no idea why these people were just doing this. But I knew that there had been a lot of school shootings in the past, and I was terrified that our school was ever going to be a target for any potential one. So we decided to run, at least as fast but silent as possible we could. Then we found one place that we could probably hide. It was a closet, another janitor closet, but this time it was unlocked. Well, we thought at least it was a janitor closet, but it turned out it was this storage unit room. And we opened the door. It was a lot of boxes and other things that we could hide beneath, or at least behind. Miss Jennifer told us to just hide behind on a box near the end of the room, and tuck down and be quiet. She was hiding behind some box herself, and as she just closed the door and hid herself, we were just sitting there in complete silence. We only whispered to each other when suddenly heard these loud voices behind other side of the door. Immediately, Miss Jennifer made the sign of putting her finger to her mouth and saying for silent, and we were in complete silence. And the voices stopped just outside the door, and it suddenly flew open, and they just looked in, screaming, "Who is in here? Get out, or we'll shoot you!" But we didn't even dare to make a single peep, not even like a whisper. We were holding our hands above our mouths to just tried to keep our heavy breathing silent. But one of the people like, if someone is in there, "Oh yeah, why doesn't the door locked? Unlock then." Maybe they just forgot about it. Come on, we had not much time. But one of the other people actually then saw something. "I see you. Stand up, or I'll shoot right now." And Miss Jennifer stood up and said, "Don't shoot. I'm a teacher here." "I don't care. You will die." And she tried to plead for her life. "Who's else in there?" It's just me," she said. "I don't believe you." But she tried to explain that she was just on her way to her classroom when she heard this, and it's her instinct to find the nearest place to safe, but still keep her safe. We were just hiding only a few feet behind all this, behind some boxes in the corner. They were so crowded with some boxes, and the other guy or person said, "There is no one else in there." And before anything can happen, this guy walked in and tried to walk around to see if there's any other people in there, any potential victims or anything. But Miss Jennifer, stopped before the guy and said, There's no one else in here. I'm the only one in here." But he didn't care. But then she tried to grab his arm, telling, "Please, take me as a hostage." But he had no plans for even to do that, apparently, because he then said, "We don't take any hostage." And then he shot right in her shoulder, and we can hear the scream as she fell to the floor on her back. And the other guy is like, "Come on, let's go." This guy then walked up to her and said, "Huh, I only hit you in the shoulder? Now this will not hurt too much." And we heard the second gunshot echo in the room, and they just both took off. We only waited for less than a few seconds before we took it courage enough to just look around the corner. We saw Miss Jennifer lay on the ground, bleeding. This time she was shot in her chest. And Carlos immediately took off his shirt and tried to push on the pressure on the wound. And I tried to keep her, telling her to just hold on. And I slowly closed the door behind me so that they wouldn't see anything. We whispered to each other and to her to keep herself calm. She will make it. In fact, we had no idea how long this is going to last because we didn't even know if these people will even come back to shoot us. But as the time went on, we were scared. And we could see that Miss Jennifer was getting weaker and weaker, but we tried to keep herself calm and even tried to keep her awake. But eventually, we heard on the speakers from the hallway behind the door, and that the lockdown has been lifted and the culprits had been caught, and that we were now allowed to safe to leave. But I didn't know what else to do. We couldn't just leave the room with Miss Jennifer because we weren't strong enough to carry her all the way outside. And we didn't even have a cell phone on us, so we couldn't call for help. And even we opened the door and start screaming for help, we had no idea if anyone would even hear us. So we made our final decision, our final choice what to do. For a split moment, we decided at least one of us should run away, try to get help, while one of us stay behind to look after Miss Jennifer. I told Carlos to go. Why? Because he was the fastest of both of me and us. And even though he didn't want to do it, but I told him, you were faster. You're faster than me. You probably can't find anyone faster than me. Please go, I yelled at him. And he took off. I was holding Miss Jennifer's hand while having the other hand pressure on the wound, and I could see that she was getting weaker and even more tired. I told her to hold on, but she told me not to worry. She was proud of me as a teacher, and that she would always have done this. She would always keep her students safe. But then she closed her eyes, but she was still breathing, she passed out. I tried to keep her awake. I tried to wake her up, but it didn't work. I was getting panic. I mean, who wouldn't be that? And suddenly I heard yelling and running in the hallway, and the door flew open, and there was paramedics there, and they told me to leave, and they will take over. I left the school building with an officer, and my parents was outside, and they saw me covered in blood. They were worried, they were shocked that I was hurt or anything. But when I told them it wasn't my blood, it was Miss Jennifer's blood. I was keeping her from bleeding out. And we were taken home. The police did interview us, me and Carlos, just to if we could identify if this was the two people that shot her. But we never even peeked around, so we couldn't say. And the school was closed for at least about a week. And we didn't hear anything about what happened much after about a week. We later heard that the both people were now arrested and now winning trial for that at least 6 people was hurt. They were shot but not die. Anyone didn't die, luckily. Well, 7 people was shot actually, but only 1 casualty. And you may guess it. It was Miss Jennifer. Despite the EMTs their efforts and taking her to hospital, but later she was pronounced dead. And the whole school was in shock. Miss Jennifer was still in her mid-20s. In fact, she had recently got married only about 2 years earlier, and even had an infant daughter at home. I was shocked. I didn't know what to do. Every student was given an option for counseling, therapy to handle this trauma, including myself and Carlos. After this, everyone went back to school, but this topic was lasted for until the senior year. But like I said, never a single day passed without me thinking about Miss Jennifer. In fact, only about a week after we were returned back to school, I convinced my parents to go see Miss Jennifer's late husband, or her husband and their daughter, to tell them what she did for me and my friend. To telling him that his wife was the most bravest person I had ever met. And we did. We gave him some flowers as to showing our condolence of the sorrow, the sadness. He thanked us, and the most shocking when I said then, he was shocked my parents and Miss Jennifer's husband, that Miss Jennifer inspired me. I would decided then what I want to do. In order to honor her memory, I decided I want to be a teacher. My parents thought that was a brave moment, and they thought that was a great way to honor my late teacher. And I even told Miss Jennifer's husband that I will always be there for him to help his family, as the whole school said they would. Support him. If he would need a babysitter or anything, I would stand up there. And he started crying to thank for this. In fact, my family was actually got close to his family. And I'm still from time meet up with Miss Jennifer's husband and their daughter. And I studied my butt off. And I eventually entered college. And I'm still studying and to be as a teacher one day. Because if this lockdown didn't happen, if it didn't happen, Miss Jennifer would have been here right now with us, and I might not have even been a teacher or not, but she was the true inspiration to me in order to save others. She literally gave her life in order to protect me and Carlos. Not only that she kept her safe, she inspired me to take the path to be a teacher. I promised her I will always to live up to her memory and tell others about this story and be a great teacher as her. Thank you for everyone for listening to my story.